Hi, my name's Deepavali,
No one.
and this is my husband Bappy. And this is our review of Avatar 2, The Way of Water. I'd like to cover a few points when talking about this movie. I'd like to discuss the story, I'd like to discuss the character arcs, and I'd love to discuss the visuals, the way this movie came together, and the 13-year journey to this movie since the previous. Now, to begin with, the story. Here in Avatar 2, you get to see where is Jake Sully now? What kind of life do he and Neytiri have? What is their family like? How do they adjust to difficult circumstances that they find themselves in? How do they stay together as a family? And one of the core quotable lines from this movie, James Cameron has that in all of his movies, this one is developing Sully's stay together.
Yes, that line. He takes these simple lines and then he does it's a tried and old technique, but it's very what you call potent, that you have that line that gives you the family's theme, then that plays out throughout the story, in characters, in plot, in action.
And in metaphor, the line is very appropriate because the Na'vi need to stay together. They need to band together to fight off the human influence in their life. The Sky People, as they define them, are the people who are damaging the ecosystem of Pandora.
Can I add some interesting theme? One of the key ways the Sky People are also winning against Pandora, they are united. Sky People don't really have an infighting among themselves for all the problems that they have. But the Pandora people, while they do not have infighting, they are separate from each other. They don't help each other out. One of the key aspects of Avatar story is we're so focused on differences.
On our different cultures, on our
Yes.
different ways of life.
Letting people be. We are so much on letting people be to the point we don't like engaging sometimes with other people when we should be. Because guess what? Our enemies are not gonna stop cooperating. If it's good for them, it is useful for them, it gives them profit, they will cooperate. That's it.
And part of how the human effect on the Na'vi was broken down was when Jake Sully and people in the first Avatar movie
Yes.
decided to be on the side of the Na'vi, decided to be on the side of the ecosystem of Pandora. And
Can I just add in then that even in part one, we culminate into when did the Sky People get defeated? They were united. When Pandora united, when the people united, the animal, the ecosystem, all of them united, fought against the Sky People, then they couldn't do anything. Because Sky People, while they're united, all they have is themselves and their technology. They're belligerent towards nature.
when we talk about 3D movies and what they've come to represent, 3D used in some movies can be unnecessary, can seem almost gratuitous. But in this movie, and I would say in James Cameron movies, he understands how to utilize the 3D to make it more immersive, to make you feel like you're there. And there is a point in this movie when you're seeing the destruction of the natural habitat that all of these people, the Na'vi, as well as all of the animals on Pandora live in, and you feel the destruction, you feel the corrosive effect that humanity and our utilization of technology has on our surroundings. And in this movie, they're no longer after unobtainium. They're after colonizing Pandora. They want to move to Pandora, and like all of humanity wants to make Pandora their next colony. And when you take into context that they're doing the exact same thing to Pandora that they did to Earth, they have not learned their lesson. They have no desire to evolve. They have no desire to adapt. They will make the circumstances fit them. And the storyline of this movie, The Way of Water, learning how to coexist, learning how to appreciate your surroundings. I know there's such a thing as Avatar fever, and there are people who want to go live on Pandora, but for me personally, this movie drove home Earth is Pandora. Our ecosystem, our environment, our mountains, our hills, our beaches, our our natural beauty, the natural beauty of Earth is being lost because we don't appreciate it, because we take it for granted, because we use it for our own purposes. And
I say something, Hannah? The whole feels like, during your discussion, to add to it, the whole them communicate with the animal just feels like a very elaborate metaphor for, our animal whisperers, the different people who can just like put that on steroids, put it into sci-fi. That's all it is. Here you have a complete physical way you can see. Here we have to do it a bit abstract. We have to learn their ways of communication. We have to understand their way of behavior, respect. You have to respect a predator. You befriend a herbivore, like that. That was beautiful.
And James Cameron's environmentalism, his devotion to protecting our oceans, protecting whales, protecting even the communities who were taken advantage of through colonialism, you can feel all of that. If anything, this movie feels like a movie made by an ally, made by someone who understands our struggles and wants to contribute and wants to help sort of undo a lot of this stuff that has been done. The character arcs in this movie, for not only Jake Sully, but I love the fact that now at this point Avatar as a franchise is trying to be a multi-generational story. That is what made Lord of the Rings great. That is what made Star Wars great. That is what has made our fiction the most accessible, when you can track generations through it and the relationships between parents and children, the interdynamics of how do we fall in love, how do we become friends, how do we go from being at war with each other to trying to come to terms with one another. I know there's this global shift where whenever we think a movie is going to be successful, we're like, why does it have to be successful? Hipster culture, okay? like we love being hipster and going like, oh, just because it's popular we don't like it. Like, I'm not gonna watch. I myself was one of those people who was like, I'm not gonna watch Game of Thrones. It's like way too popular. People are way into it. I watched it at the end and I was kind of sad that I missed out on that journey that everyone else got to have of they love Game of Thrones and it was so good for so many seasons and then it was fumbled at the end. That was, for me, I deprived myself of the opportunity to enjoy that period of time. And I'm asking you this. Please disregard what the status quo is and just go see this movie for yourself. Avatar 2 is a really well-made movie. And above all, it is art that is unapologetically on the side of indigenous communities. It is art that is unapologetically on the side of animals and the ecosystem and environmental conservation. That's the kind of thing that we need to strive towards. That's the kind of message that we should all be willing to devote ourselves to. Like, yes, we need to take care of our planet. Yes, we need to be more environmentally conscientious. And we need to hold larger corporations accountable for what they do to the planet in pursuit of profit. And that's a message that Avatar 2 sends really well. My favorite part of this movie was the Sully kids adapting to their environment, seeing how they're utilizing the same lessons that they learned from Jake Sully, but they're utilizing it so much better than he is able to.
Yes.
And that's the point of kids. They're supposed to be the 2.0. They're supposed to be the advanced version.
The next generation. That's why it's called Star Trek, The Next Generation.
And more so than calling kids our future, we need to acknowledge them as the present. We need to acknowledge that they are involved in the present, that they shape the present. The way Avatar 2 shows the kids becoming part of the Omaticaya, the way it shows them adapting to the Omatikaya's traditions, to their culture, to openly being willing to understand and appreciate the nuances of their culture. Our kids, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, whatever you want to call it, they're adapting so much faster to technology than we are, and they're also doing it while being environmentally conscientious. And we need to stop minimizing those impulses, because the moment you teach the next generation that they will be rejected, that they will not be appreciated, that their contributions will be dismissed, you're traumatizing another generation. You're making another generation feel like they have to fight to be heard. And what I love in this movie is that Jake Sully and Neytiri both realize that they have to listen to their children. They have to hear what they have to say. And even Jake Sully as a partner realizes he needs to listen to what Neytiri is saying to him, what she has to contribute. And the way that parallels how much we need to hear women's voices, especially people of color's voices, like minorities need to stop being dismissed.
This brings me to the point of people always talk about Avatar being a white savior story. As a person of color, I prefer this type of stories. And why? And I'll break it down with Iron Man 1. I love Iron Man 1. It's one of the best MCU movies. Iron Man 1, the bad guy, Jeff Bridges' character, tries to recreate the arc reactor technology that Tony wants to recreate. And the scientist cannot. And he gets pissed off and he says, like, Tony Stark built this in a cave with scraps. And the dude replies, apologize, sir, but I'm not Tony Stark. In the MCU and world, Tony Stark is someone special. You cannot replicate his thing. In fact, that was one of the part of the point of Iron Man 2. Other people are trying to replicate Tony Stark, but Tony Stark is not really worried. Why? Because they're too stupid to come up with the technology on their own anyway. He's so awesome, hence he should have the technology. All of MCU movies still that, in case you haven't noticed it. Avatar isn't that. Avatar is, if Sky people can do this shit, trust me, you can do it better. This is why, as much as I enjoy MCU, the entire superhero genre is white savior. All of those things are, those characters, they're so damn special, they don't bother trying to even be like them. Avatar isn't that. Avatar is one of those things, if Tony Stark is not a superhero, he's more than likely Elon Musk. So don't worry about what he thinks of himself, just notice his technology, get the good ideas from it, then utilize it for your own self. There. If you wonder why is this white savior story hits the world, there, I'm just giving you the basic fundamental one key difference that all of your 40 movies that came out between these two movies have. That's it. It's just two movies, man. And then you have the entire filmography. You have an entire universe that is still this fundamental ideology, theme, whatever you want to call it, running through your entire thing from your first one to your last, till even the recent ones. Even for those who are going to bring in Black Panther, go watch it carefully. Avatar, there you go. Neither of the movies had it.
To sum up, we both loved Avatar 2. And I'm looking forward to what James Cameron is going to do with Avatar 3, with Avatar 4. I hope more movies in this world get made. And I think the fact that at the time that we are making this review, the fact that the movies earned over $1 billion at this point, I hope it keeps making money. I hope they get to James Cameron gets to make more of these movies and have his own contribution to guiding the next generation. I hope you enjoyed our review. If you would like to contribute to the conversation, please leave a comment. If you enjoyed what we had to say, please leave a like. And if you would like to hear more, if you would like us to review more movies, if you have any suggestions, please make the suggestions. And if you'd like more reviews from us, please subscribe. Bye. Thank you. Hope you have a great day, great night, wherever you are.